So today, I'm going to run you through converting a blank space into my Zwift session. So I'll run you through all the components I'm going to use. I'll go the budget option. So if you're looking at the cheapest way to get on board, this will be very handy. So let's go for a ride. Bike's already sorted, good to go. Next thing we need is the indoor trainer. I've chosen the Cyclops Fluid 2 today. Standard fluid trainer, supported by Zwift. Pretty basic trainer, quite cheap, $200 online secondhand. Maybe a little more if you buy new, but a good budget option to start out with. And to match that, we'll put down a yoga mat as well. Okay, bike set up, ready to go. One slight modification I always use is to raise the front wheel just a little bit. Indoors I feel a little bit more comfortable with it raised up. Best solution for that I've found, and the cheapest solution, the yellow pages. So the next thing to do now is to hook up the speed sensor for the rear wheel so we can communicate to the Zwift session. So I've got myself a cheap Garmin one I had laying around the house, pick one up for $30, maybe a lot cheaper secondhand. I'll put this on the rear wheel so we can then transmit the rear wheel speed via ANT+. The speed sensor has now been installed on the rear wheel. It's transmitting ANT+ rear wheel speed. Next thing we need is a computer. Now I've got a laptop, just a MacBook Pro. I'll be sitting it in front of me on the barrels there. We're almost there. So you can see the distance between the computer and the ANT+ speed sensor down here. ANT+ can get a little confused in a noisy environment. If you've got your microwave oven on, you've got Wi-Fi signals, you've got other devices in the 2.4 spectrum, it gets a little technical, don't worry about any of that. The best advice I can give is to get a USB extension cable that just brings the ANT key a little closer to there. So the ANT key, very small, very easy to lose. So it's very handy to have that on the end of a long rope, so to speak. So ANT key installed, I'll put that on the computer and run it down to the back of that. These things are set and forget. Once they're in place, no need to worry. We're really close now. So we have the bike on the trainer, we have the speed sensor on the rear wheel, we've got the computer set up over here, and the ANT stick as close as we can get it to make sure there's maximum signal strength. A few bonus options here. Indoor fans, gotta keep cool. These are the best ones I've found. Little Sunair Turbo, high velocity turbo fans, 30 centimeters. They're very quiet for what they are. Highly recommended. Let's get that set up in front of me. Another tip with installing a fan, don't put it directly in front of you where you're the smallest, put it just off to the side so it can get a lot more body surface area and keep you nice and cool. Cooling is very important. We'll cover a whole other video on cooling. So, setup is almost done. Now the extra bonus, I use a quad lock bike mount for my iPhone. So while I'm Zwifting, I can use the phone, text, Facebook, and most importantly, the mobile link to give a few ride-ons. So I'll put the quad lock link on. And for those really long Zwift sessions, we need some light reading, so got a few magazines I'll study up on the tour. But there we go. Setup complete from zero to Zwift station, all in one. Again, in summary, we have the bike, we have the rear wheel speed sensor installed, on the Cyclops Fluid 2 trainer, floor mat, ANT+ stick with an extension cable so we can talk to the computer, a fan, and the Mac computer running Zwift. Easy as that. Taking you through a blank space to a Zwift station. Also a little side table here. That's a conductor's stand. Picked up for about $50. Again, any side table works. Basic setup, Z power. Let's get some kilometers in. Just before we get stuck into the session, I'll run you through exactly the config I've got set up in Zwift to make all this work with Z power. Okay, we have to spin the rear wheel. We're using Ant Plus to hook up our sensors today. We have no power source, but we have a classic speed sensor here. So I'll click on search. As you can tell, this house has a few Ant Plus sensors here. The bottom one's what we're after, their speed and cadence sensor. From here, we select our compatible trainer. That would be the Cyclops Fluid 2. Okay. I have no cadence sensor on at the moment, so I'll actually unpair that. I have a heart rate monitor on. There we go, 71 beats a minute. No cadence sensor, no power source, connected via Ant Plus. Click OK. A few of my friends online. I know the workout I'm going to do, so let's get stuck into it straight away. So there we go, training session done for the day using Z Power and a budget setup for Zwift. Didn't cost a lot, didn't take long to set up at all. So, laptop, fluid trainer, ant stick, away you go. Alright, thanks for the ride, we'll see you next time.